Are you really doing what's best, or are you just doing what you know? Well, that's one of the fearless questions we're going to be asking this week as we fearlessly question doing your best with Shauna Coronado. And I'm very excited for this show. I've been trying to make it happen for a really long time, and swung and missed on a few guests to actually tackle this topic. But Shauna has definitely stepped up to the plate, and I'm very excited that we actually are going to get to do this. And this could be the first show to incite some pitchforks to get sharpened, maybe some torches to get lit, as I'm going to attack a potential group of people. Attack's a very, all right, whoa, all right, pump the brakes. Attack is a little bit of a strong word, but we're going to question a group of people that generally get a pass or are always assumed to have the best interest in mind of the people that they have the interest in, I guess. And the reason that I wanted to do the show doing what's best, and the reason that I came up with this idea is because I always hear from people that I'm around. Obviously, I have two little kids, and even I hear my wife say this sometimes. You probably hear your wife say it, maybe you say it yourself, and it's the phrase, I just want to do what's best for my kids. And they're generally making assumptions based on very limited information that they just assumed to be the only options available, and not really taking into account everything that can actually happen and be a possibility. And that's a little tragic, and I don't know if this is true just in my little corner of the world, if it's the friends that I keep, or if you are also actually struggling with some of the same problems. But it's really about just breaking down that initial wall that you put up and saying, this is as far as I can go, and I'm going to try something different, something that maybe my friend down the street isn't doing or suggesting, or might look down on or frown upon or not quite fully understand, because that is not necessarily always the best option. And I can't understand it for the life of me. And you will hear that person say, I just want to do what's best for my kids, as you as you watch them do something that is inevitably or inadvertently just not good for them. Whether it's, watching whatever piece of food that they are currently eating, or type of, I'm going to use air quotes, food that may be classified as food, or just in general, there's some type of medical treatment or practice or whatever. And a lot of it is around the health and nutrition side of things, because those are generally the most sensitive subjects for parents to consider. I'm not just attacking moms. I'm sure dads have these conversations too, but a lot of the dads I know are just, they're a little more laid back. If you are a dad that is in this camp, I'm not excluding you, because I am one of them, and I constantly find myself actually trying to push beyond that and really think and ask the question, am I doing what's best, or am I doing the best thing? And it's a tough question, and I hope Shauna can provide some answers. And the reason I'm going to have Shauna on the show is because she is, one of her things is get healthy, get green, and get community. And obviously a lot of that centers around, getting healthy is priority number one in this. And that's the first place that we overlook and just dismiss and don't even really consider, what it is that we're letting our kids put in their mouths. And not just, I'm talking like toys and things like that. I mean, like actually, chew and digest. And again, I know that can have double meanings, because they do eat a whole bunch of stuff that isn't nailed down. And that's a terrible tragedy sometimes, and sometimes a problem. But, moving beyond that stuff, ingested Legos and all, I have to have this conversation. I have to ask these questions, because it doesn't make sense to, again, my corner of the world. And I don't want this, and I'm using this in just like every show. I mean, this is the example. I like to use the example of, parents saying what is best for their children or what is not. And if that is actually the case, but this also applies in so many different areas. It's just a fundamental mindset of we want to do what's best, and we limit, we whether consciously or subconsciously limit these choices that we make to these options, and we say, okay, this is what is best. This is what people have told me is of my best options, and I'm going to choose from one of these, and not necessarily stopping, thinking for ourselves and saying, well, how about this thing over here? Because that is what I am most interested in, and that is a place that is probably going to provide a lot more beneficial returns and more interesting returns at any rate. And even if I were to, give another example, I mean, like, again, living in suburban Cleveland, outside of Cleveland, and I'm sure that it's worse other places, but, well, maybe it's better in some places because, there are places that are a little more progressive than, Northeast Ohio. But, you see people just spreading bag and, like pound and pound or bags and bags of fertilizer on their grass, all over, all through summer, and then you watch their kids rolling around and playing in it. Now, this might be me being paranoid and all that crazy stuff, but I mean, even if, like, let's just say we're going to play on the safe side and say, why mess with it? I mean, why mess with it? And why not find a solution that is a little more less risky than just having a weedless, strong, thick green patch of grass to play. And I understand that the grass thing is important for the kids to play on, so you want them to have a nice surface to actually run around, nice soft surface to run around, play, and have all that fun. But at the same time, you don't want to introduce any unnecessary chemicals and things like that. And it's that type of decision-making process that I don't get. I don't understand, and I can't stand, and it drives me nuts, and it does make me want to punch somebody somewhere in the face. And it is what it is, I guess. I just want to know, I mean, are you making those decisions? Are you somebody that is doing it unknowingly, or do you not even think about that? Is there just a disconnect? Is there just, I really didn't think of that. Is that the mindset, or do you know of the risk and you just say, well, I don't care? I mean, obviously, I think that's a lot worse, because they, say ignorance is bliss or whatever, But if you want to, if it is in fact an ignorant decision, then I mean, it is what it is. You just don't know, and that's fine. Nobody can blame you for that. But at the same time, you do have a little bit of blame because you're not actively searching for what is best. Again, constantly asking that question in all facets and area of your life. I just don't know why we don't do that. I mean, obviously, we like to just assume and trust some of the things that have been presented to us in our life, and because a lot of the times it's coming from a very, very close source, be it a friend, family member, a neighbor, or whatever, we want to say, oh, okay, yeah, they're doing it, so it's cool. And I mean, maybe maybe in my little corner of the world, this is more of an issue. Maybe I don't know a lot of the right people. Maybe I just hang out with the wrong crowd per se. But I'm going to venture to guess that somewhere, some way, somehow, you have a similar circle, similar interest that kind of functions like that. And that's why I want to have Shauna on, because I think she's going to be one of the best people to have that conversation with and see what she thinks about it and kind of get her experience in the matter, because I know she's had her own struggles converting even some of her own family members into this journey and having them support her and make those type of best decisions. That's it. I'm going to get out of here this week. We will be back with Shauna. It's going to be Thursday, April the 9th, of course, at 2 p.m. Eastern. I hope to see you guys there. And of course, as always, if you haven't yet, feel free to leave a rating review in iTunes and or Stitcher. Feel free to go to fearlesslyquestioning.com/subscribe, and that'll get you right to the page to go do either one of those two things, whichever platform you prefer. I will not look down upon you, whichever way you go, if it's the Apple or Android route. I'm an equal opportunity podcast listener platform provider. So whichever one, if you want to go ahead and do that, it would be the best way to help support the show is to go ahead and leave a rating or review. Honestly, it's the absolute best way that you can help support the show if you are at all grateful or interested in the fearless questions that we have asked and will continue to ask in the future. But that's it. I am Joey Giangola. Take it easy, everybody. I'll catch you on the next one.